Welcome back. Our special guest today is a Tony-nominated actor from the stage and screen. His many projects includes the blockbuster Hadestown, The Gilded Age on HBO, The Grinch, and you'll find out why I'm going to ask him about Beauty and the Beast. His one-man show is now playing at the legendary Guthrie Theater right here in Minneapolis. It's called All the Devils Are Here, all about how Shakespeare quite literally invented the villain. Audience, give it up for Patrick Page.
Person.
I know.
Like I know you.
I know. Come on up here, my friend. Oh. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, it is. I got to tell you, if you're new to the show, maybe you missed. Patrick's wife, Paige, is a dear friend of mine. I've seen Patrick, but we've actually never really talked a lot, which is very bizarre. So it's a thrill to have you on the couch, my friend.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Let me start at the very beginning. So because we have plenty of time to talk about a wide variety of things. What made you want to do this project? Because what I'm most impressed, this is all you in every conceivable way, my friend. Where did the desire to do this start?
Well, you know, my father was an actor in Oregon with the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and I fell in love with Shakespeare when I was a little boy. And then I just wanted to share it with people. Like in this audience, I imagine, can I ask them a question?
Go ahead, Patrick.
All right,
you can host the damn show if you want. I don't care. Yeah.
Like by a show of hands, how many of you, please don't be ashamed to say so, think that Shakespeare is boring or difficult or wouldn't want to get caught in a room where you had to watch Shakespeare for a couple of hours? Raise your hands. Yeah,
okay,
see,
yeah.
A lot of people. So I have a different experience, which is I adore this material. I adore this playwright, and I know that they will too. If someone delivers it to them in a way that is vivid and entertaining and fun. So that's what my show is about, is trying to make some fun out of this playwright that I love so much.
I always try my damnedest to either start or end the interview with an earnest compliment. And so I'm going to begin because you've set me up perfectly. I am probably, my hand would have been half up, quite honestly. As you know, I went to opening night with Paige, with my husband, and can I tell you, and I mean this, I want to cuss. Holy crap, Patrick. I mean, I can't, you made this, amongst the other accomplishments of this show, you made this so accessible. And I'm a very, I'm jittery and I get jittery and I get, what am I doing tomorrow? I was transfixed by this, as was Colin, and this isn't normally our cup of tea. Bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo. And I really mean it.
Thank you. Yeah, it should be entertaining. And in this case, you know, we're talking about villains. And even if people, you know, are a little afraid of Shakespeare, most people love a good villain. You know.
And you weave that in. I mean, I don't want to give everything away. And again, keep in mind, I know you've heard me say, it's Patrick, just Patrick on the stage. But it's really more about Shakespeare. You're really teaching us about the human condition, aren't you?
Well, Shakespeare had this incredible thing that happened in his life. He grew up in a little town like I did, you know, and he had all of the biases and prejudices and that somebody who lives in a little town and never sees people who are different than them has, just like I did. And then he goes to London and he starts writing these plays, and somehow this man, Shakespeare, was just really committed to telling the truth. And so he starts to see, wait a minute, these people have been vilified and they didn't do anything wrong. These people, and he starts to write these characters like Iago in Othello and Richard III and Shylock, and he brings them to life. And a lot of our modern villains and characters are based on that. in the show, I mentioned, Claire Underwood in House of Cards is based on Lady Macbeth. Frank Underwood is based on Richard III. Scar in The Lion King is based on Hamlet's uncle Claudius. Logan Roy in Succession is based on King Lear. So it runs through our culture, and it's just really fun to explore. And Shakespeare went through this transformation in his life, where by the end of his life, he's reached this kind of empathy and understanding for all human beings.
There's the reward of doing the work on stages all over the place, including our very own Guthrie, and you're moving on in a little while to another city. I'm sure that's one gift. I can imagine, because it's one of your goals, if you hear from people after the show, and you know what I'm going to say, does your face not light up when they say something similar to what I've said to you?
Oh, it's my favorite thing. That's why I'm always trying to enlist people. The first part of my show is me performing and hopefully entertaining. And I think they are entertained. The second half is optional. If they want to stay, they can. We take a little 5-minute break. And then I have a conversation with the audience. And everybody stays. The first time we did this, I ran this show for 6 months in New York off Broadway. And I thought, well, we'll have this little conversation after the show. Maybe, a few people will stay and it'll be fun. The entire audience stayed. And then we began having these conversations, and people really, they're really engaged, because right now in the world, the question of human evil is really alive, And if you, for example, Google searched evil 20 years ago, you wouldn't find that much. You Google it now and you see the word all over the place. People are curious, they're pointing fingers, they're worried. And so, people want to discuss. And again, always entertainment. It better be fun.
Yeah.
Or why should they come to a theater and pay money? They can stay home and watch Yellowstone. Right? It'll be great.
More with Patrick when we come back. Back in a moment. Thank you for doing this. I really, really appreciate it, Patrick.
Let's make it.
Welcome back. Broadway icon Patrick Page is our guest for this hour. I'll give you information on how to see the show at the very end of our conversation. Let's talk about your other projects. I know that I am obsessed, like a lot of folks, with The Gilded Age on HBO, a huge hit for HBO. What is that production like? I mean, you talk about grand. I can't even imagine, just specifically, you're looking at it right now if you haven't seen it. The wardrobe department itself, Patrick, I'm sure is a marvel.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The wardrobe, the costumes, the art direction, the scenery, but then also the actors. You know, it's New York City, and you have this wealth of Broadway stars, and virtually everyone on the show is a Tony winner.
Yeah,
it's just incredible. So yeah, it's been a real gift, and the relationship of my character to the leading character, played by Morgan Spector, George Russell, is in this third season, which is about to come out later on, really heating up in a wonderful, surprising way. So
you've had, when you were talking about the cast, it reminded me, you've had so many great casts, whether it's Hadestown, which I want to get to. It's such a cliche, Patrick, but a rising tide really does raise all boats, I would imagine, when you are looking across the set and you see the talent. I always call something even like this is a ping pong game, you know, and you have to have a player to. I would imagine when you look across the way and you see Christine Baranski and you see playing ping pong is very easy. And a joy.
It's the perfect analogy, right? Because acting is. It's just listening and responding. That's all it is. So if you've got somebody there who's really with you, and also, their level of reality. So if you have a wonderful actor across from you, you go, oh, okay, I have to meet that. I have to match that. Okay. And you might have thought you were before, but then you just get reminded, right? I was watching Only Murders in the Building, Paige and I were loving that show. And you watch the scenes between Martin Short and Meryl Streep. You had no idea, or at least I had no idea, that Martin Short was that kind of actor, capable of that kind of emotional depth and truth. But there he is, matching Meryl Streep, ping pong. Okay, I could play with that player.
Do you, whether it's a Gilded Age or Hadestown or again, All the Devils Are Here, I would love to see you in a comedy.
Oh, yeah.
I would absolutely. Is it?
Okay, well,
Is it an instrument that you want to play?
Yes, and I do.
I should say.
The first time I was in Minneapolis, which was 1995, I was playing Lumiere in the first national tour of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Obviously, a comic role, and delightfully so. And if you want to see me in a comedy, every year, starting 2 years ago, every year during the holidays, probably starts now, for all I know, Spirited, which is a film I did with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, is on Apple TV, and it is a fantastic, wonderful holiday movie, which I happen to have a comic role in.
Yeah. Do you enjoy? I mean, is it like pulling out an instrument that you don't often play? Because you do. If you look at the graph of your career, you play probably, I would imagine, more serious roles. Is it just a kick in the pants to do something lighter, like?
Oh yeah. I love it so much. I'm doing a comedy right now, which will be on Amazon Prime, called Étoile. Which is by the Palladinos, who did Gilmore Girls and Ms. Maisel and all of that. And it's just, when you get on the set, and the writing is so perfect, so superb, you can't displace a word. It's everything. It's so much fun.
More with Patrick. We'll be right back. Back in a moment. Oh, wow, 97.
Let's make it a good day.
Welcome back. More with Broadway icon Patrick Page. I keep saying, we'll get to it. I want to talk about Hadestown. I had the opportunity to see you in it, and when you look at here's a little bit of it, everybody. Here's a publicity photo. What was that experience like for you? Because my God, did I love it.
It was life-changing for me. The show it was the best Tony-winning musical that year. The album has sold, I don't know how many copies, but everywhere I go, people love the show and they connect with the show. And it's still, of course, playing on Broadway. I'm no longer in it. And playing in London and other places around the world. But it's a phenomenon, and I was just so grateful to be a part of it.
Is it hard, Patrick, even in New York, where people they see stars all the time and it's no big deal, but is it hard for you to open your mouth in any place without people going, hey, that's Patrick Page? Because you have such a distinctive voice.
Sometimes that is. Years ago, we were sitting in a restaurant. Paige and I were sitting in a steakhouse in Las Vegas, and I had my back to some people, and they came around and they had recognized my voice. So, yeah, it happens. It happens.
I'll end kind of where we began, right here in Minneapolis. For no matter where you're watching from, we do the show here in Minneapolis. You and I were talking during the break. The Guthrie Theater. Let's talk just a moment about the legendary Guthrie. If people don't know, the esteem that the theater community has for the Guthrie.
Yeah, well, I was just saying, sometimes when you're very close to something, you don't have the perspective on it. The Guthrie is known worldwide as the premier American theater, And so my entire life, from the time I knew I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to work at the Guthrie Theater. And it's only now, at this old age, that I finally get to be on that stage, and I'm just so grateful and happy about it.
Isn't it a little bit of a cliche, a little full circle moment? You mentioned it earlier. You were in Beauty and the Beast here in the Minneapolis theater scene in a very different show, and now you're back in a different point of your career and life, back here in Minneapolis at the Guthrie. Oh, here you are. Look at that,
there
Patrick. What do you think of, Patrick, when you see that publicity still from Beauty and the Beast?
Oh, I just think of what a magical time it was. And, you know, this is where Paige and I fell in love and began our relationship. The picture after that was when I got to walk with her down the red carpet when she was nominated for an Emmy. That was in LA when she, I remember she was sick as a dog that night. So you see her smiling in that picture, but she was really having a hard time. But yeah, so this is great. Paige and I went down to the neighborhood where the theaters are and where we lived and everything, walked around, went to the stage door and relived some of those memories.
Yeah, it's because for people that don't know, Disney used to open a lot of shows here, Beauty and the Beast, and they opened The Lion King here. And where's the show going next, Patrick? Where's
My show?
Your show? Where is it going next?
Washington, D.C. So we'll be there in December, all of December.
Are you constantly, I know the answer to this, but I for the audience, are you constantly tinkering with the show?
I have been.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting is right now, because these audiences are so great and so responsive, and I get to talk to them, the show has settled actually much more now than it had before. I was tinkering a lot, but I feel like now it's settled into its form. They've really taught me a lot about it.
Tip to tail, how long of a process has this been to get all the doubles here on?
Well, when did you start imagining having a show of this kind?
7 years old watching Johnny Carson.
Exactly right. So that's the same with my show.
Really? Very much like this is like a child that putting out into the universe.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's been so well received. I got to tell you, it means a lot to me to have you on the couch, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick Page, everybody. All the doubles are here. Runs through November 17th here locally. GuthrieTheater.org for tickets. And again, pay attention if you're in the D.C. area. Patrick's heading toward you. We'll be right back. Back in a moment. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it.